Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Trojan Poetry. This week I've chosen the poem. Mike has not read it. I thought this was a really beautiful winter poem by Mary Oliver, who we've covered in Trojan Poetry number 42. So go back and check that one out. This one is called WhiteEyes. Here we go. In winter, all the singing is in the tops of the trees where the wind bird with its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings as long as he stays awake. But his big, round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing, while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he is taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below, like stars, or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Right?
What I'm trying to figure out as I was listening to you read this, is this an actual bird? It says where the wind bird with its white eyes. So is it the wind itself? Is it snow? Because it says at the end, it has turned itself into snow. Some unimaginable bird.
Right.
So it's a bird of her imagination, or is it literal? That was the first thing I was trying to figure out. But I love the imagery in the first second stanza. Its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. I mean, I can see the bird scratching around up there, right? He wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and I guess the idea is his big round music that's too breathy to last, which is I got to bring this storm in. We've got to start the snow. And then his glittering beak tucked into a white wing, while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north. So I got this almost like cartoon, like a cloud with his breath coming out, like blowing the snow through the scene. I just think it's great visual imagery throughout. I mean, I can picture just about every line, and whether it's a metaphor or not, I don't know. What did you think?
Well,
literal or otherwise, John?
Right, no, and that's part of why I was so not moved by it necessarily, but I was so intrigued by it, was because I was like, okay, there's a wind bird, and then I was like, well, wait, it's not a real bird, and then I got to the end, I'm like, but it's an unimaginable bird, and then she doesn't even know the bird's name, but it's imagined, and then it turns itself into snow. It's like, oh, it's the wind, right? It took me a couple times to kind of figure it out, but what got me, why I chose it, was the ending, right? And I think that's one of the cool things I've discovered over the course of all these videos is like, there can be just one line that kind of hits you, and then that becomes enough of an anchor that you want to read more, right? And so when I was kind of confused, right? And I got to the end, and it was some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow. And just that idea that the snowfall is a symbol, sort of this something loving us and just raining down or snowing down, snowing down,
precipitation correct
peace, right? Like, and it is a symbol of love, right? A universal almost of the wind. I think in the end, it's the wind, right? Or something has summoned the wind, which has turned into snow, and now it's falling on us because it loves us. Which I just thought, I was like, wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, well, living in Chicago, we get so many storms, you know, each winter, and I love the powdery snow. I mean, I know Eskimos have like 100 words for snow. I think in Chicago we have slush and we have powder. Yeah. That's about it.
Fresh snow and then nasty
and then the
snow.
Slushy stuff. So this reminds me of that first, you know, that soft powdery snow. It's totally, when you walk outside, it's just silent, and yet everything around you is covered and building, and it's just beautiful. And I agree. When you said that anchor line, it makes you want to go back and reread. Right. And he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent. So this, like you said, it's a loving. The wind itself has been trained to be like comforting, and I know. I'm like in a big white comforter or something by the end of this poem. You know, you just want to like roll around and in the snow, and it's just so. I don't know, it's so positive. I
Right.
mean, we've read so many things that have some kind of darkness to it, but this one is
Right.
It's just a beautiful,
Yeah, the
beautiful
opposite.
image. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Trojan Poetry DGN or on our website at trojanpoetrydgn.blogspot.com.